following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Yes, it sure is. And yes, we are back here Wednesday night. Another episode live of the Slingn'n Proffet podcast. As always, I am your host, Andrew Daly, also known as Sling'n, also known as a bunch of other things, but I'm not going to say them on air. Always joined by my co-host in crime, the Proffet himself, Mr. Moneymaker himself, the Proffet. Proffet, what's going on to you? Another week down, another week in the books in the NFL. Another week to look forward to. There's a lot to talk about tonight. How's things going for you? How was the last week for you?
Well, for starters, it's a great time of the year. Okay, the holidays are coming. Got lots of extra cash in the pocket for Christmas this year, and the only bad thing is we got snow today here, man. It's cold as hell down here. It snowed, it melted, and then froze over tonight. Everything's a sheet of ice out there. But
is that why you're wearing your hoodie and not your traditional suit jacket?
No. Actually, I wore this 3 weeks ago, and I kind of like the comfort of it.
You gotta zip it up. You got the chest hair popping out through there.
That's the Italian in me. I got to show the chest a little bit.
Very very minimal Italian, but I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go on a hunt. They're offering hunts off the Jersey Shore here. They're drone hunting. They said they're going to go down and shoot down some drones. They said, literally, listen, you make fun of it. Like we laugh about it, but like you see all the stories about the drones in New Jersey, and I tend to bat my eyes a couple times. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, until I see it with my own eyes. All right. And I saw it with my own eyes about 4 nights ago, driving home from school, and you see it right in my town, big friggin' drone, the size of a car or something like that. I never seen nothing like it. It's nighttime. I'm like, what the hell are these drones doing out here? And then you see today that these drones are the government thinks that they're coming in from Iran or some kind of surveillance or something like that.
Yeah,
pretty wild stuff.
That's what one of your congressmen up there was saying, and I don't know. I mean, I look at it because I've been following it too. The government is telling us that there's nothing to worry about, and the government would never lie to you. So you ain't got to worry about it. Feel safe.
No, they say, listen, all the stuff I'm seeing is like, listen, we don't know where the heck they're coming from. They shouldn't be up there. We should be shooting these things down. So I think it's good.
Shoot them down though with the size of them.
That's the scary part. So.
House and
but
I think it's fun.
Listen. I'm going to nip this in the bud right now. Okay, we're not going to spread.
No
fallacies here. No propaganda here, Mrs. Proffet. Okay, I don't live near any of Trump's properties, and I had them over my house, so they're all over the place. And why are you watching on YouTube tonight and not Facebook like you usually are? Let her answer in the comments. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about this week, Proffet. And we're going to get off the drones. Okay, we're not going to talk about the drones anymore because I don't want anybody listening in.
And that's good. You know what though? I mean, you're going to make Mrs. Proffet's day because our first topic is Mrs. Proffet's sweetheart. So
boy, yeah. Well, I might make or break her day because Larry's on Facebook, so we're not having any issues on Facebook from what I can see here. Facebook has been a little weird with our streams the past few weeks, but I think we're pretty good right now. So, but we're going to switch over here and we're going to dive into our what's happening segment. And you're right, Proffet. Headline news. Okay, if you haven't seen it, you might be under a rock a little bit. But this story has been quite interesting to me. This awkward exchange between Mark Gastineau and Brett Favre that surfaces from apparently it was over a year ago. I don't know, and I don't know when it was exactly, but I'll take them at their word. That it was a year ago. If you didn't see it, I'll preface it with this, and then I'll play the clip for you, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Basically, Brett Favre is signing some memorabilia at a trade show. It looks like he's approached by Mark Gastineau, who obviously, who you guys know, had the sack record until Michael Strahan, quote unquote, beat. I'm not going to say quote unquote beat it. He did beat it. How he beat it, that's up for interpretation. Everybody's got their opinion. Obviously, everybody sees it. Everybody knows how it went down. But the fact of the matter is, he got it. Michael Strahan's a sack champion. Mark Gastineau, I don't know if he's filming something, if he's trying to, I don't know what the deal is, but there was cameras here, obviously, to film this interaction. I don't know what the hell is going on, but take a look at it. Gastineau goes up to Favre, confronts him at this memorabilia show, and I might even play it twice because it's only a 30-second clip, but you could tell Favre is just taken back by it, has no idea what the hell is going on or what to make of it. Check this out.
Now you
I thought we met a long time ago. At least I saw you.
Right.
How you doing?
When you fell down for him. I'm going to get my sack back. I'm going to get my sack back, dude.
You probably would hurt me.
Well, I don't care. You hurt me. You hurt me. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You really hurt me. You hurt me, Brett.
We got to get back to this, Brett. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna play it one more time, just in case you missed it, or if you didn't hear it. It's a 30-second clip. I'm playing it one more time.
Now you
I thought we met a long time ago. At least I saw you.
Right.
How you doing?
When you fell down for him. I'm going to get my sack back. I'm going to get my sack back, dude.
You probably would hurt me.
Well, I don't care. You hurt me. You hurt me. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You really hurt me. You hurt me, Brett.
We got to get back to this, Brett. I'm sorry.
So that's, just watching it. It's certainly an awkward exchange. Favre is completely taken off guard by it because he goes to shake his hand and Gastineau's got no interest in shaking his hand. You could hear the pain in Gastineau's voice. You could almost in tears, and saying, you hurt me, I want my sack back. And Favre jokes back with him and says, oh, you probably hurt me. Like, thinking, oh, he wants to sack him right here, like he's joking. And then he realizes it's not a joke. But the one thing that got me was when Gastineau taps his chest, you hear that he's wearing a mic. So he's clearly wearing a mic. They're filming something. Obviously, it's on video. So they're filming it for this video. I don't know what they're doing, if they're filming a documentary or what. But clearly, this guy Gastineau took this to heart. Now, and I'll talk about it for a couple minutes, Proffet, and then I'll let you go and say what you think the deal is. Obviously, Brett Favre. Everybody knows who Brett Favre is. If you weren't an avid Vikings fan, or was it the Vikings or the Jets? If you weren't an avid Jets fan, you probably the common fan wouldn't be able to tell you who Mark Gastineau was today. The common fan, on the other hand, would be able to tell you who Brett Favre was. Mark Gastineau needed that sack record a heck of a lot more than Michael Strahan did, or Brett Favre needed to give it to him, because they're both still very relevant in the realm of professional football, in the realm of media. Mark Gastineau, and I'll go ahead and read a quote here from Brett Favre that Brett Favre put out. And it kind of touches on a lot of stuff, and the stuff that I came to mind when I was thinking of it. Like, it hurt this guy, like it hurt Gastineau, because Gastineau played in a time where it's not life-changing money. You can't live off the money that you made in the NFL, the money that he was making back then. So he's living off his name, blah, blah, blah. And I'll read this quote by Brett Favre real quick that he put out. I want to clear the air on footage that was released on a small dust-up between myself and Mark Gastineau. Back in 2002, Michael Strahan sacked me at the end of the game. I was no way trying to hurt Mark. I booted out, thought would be open, saw Strahan standing there, and he ducked down. The game was over. There was no need for me to do anything spectacular. It probably wasn't Michael's best sack or tackle for loss. In a different game or situation, I would have made a bigger effort to avoid the sack or TFL, but at no point was I thinking about hurting Gastineau. Maybe it did cross my mind to help Strahan. I didn't think it through, and that was my fault at the time, or that was my forte at the time. I see now how being the sack king would elevate Gastineau's value at card shows, strengthen his case for the Hall of Fame, and increase his demand as a public speaker. I had no way of knowing that then, and I now realize the potential financial implications that I've had on Mark. I would like to go. He goes on and says, I would like to apologize. Put Mark Gastineau in the NFL. He deserves it. Blah, 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 blah. Do you think that this is just Gastineau being not, I don't want to say washed up, but just an angry old vet here? Or does he have a legitimate gripe? And we all know he's got a legitimate gripe about the sack record in general. Brett gave it to him, and there was no secret there. But J.J. Watt also went on to have 22 and a half sacks a couple of years ago too, and
40 years later, Sling.
Right, but nobody's talking about that. They just talk about this. They talk about this one that happened in 2002. Is Gastineau? Does he have a point? Is this holding him out? Is this the reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame? Is because he's not the quote unquote sack king? Is this the reason why he's not getting paid at trade shows? Like, what do you make about the whole thing?
Well, me personally, it's funny because me and Mrs. Proffet, Favre is Mrs. Proffet's, man, and she loves him. And the two of us together were watching this game when it unfolded, when this play unfolded. And the first thing I said to her, I turned to her and I said, I just lost all respect for Brett Favre because he gave that sack record to Strahan. I didn't know about their relationship. I didn't know they were friends, so it was something that should have never happened in the realm of professional football. Gastineau, is he? Yeah, I mean, he's 40 years later. He's still sour about it. Absolutely. Did it probably? I don't know. Considering the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame yet, I can't say that it kept him out of the Hall of Fame because he had many years prior to this happening. This happened in what, 2001 or 2?
2002, I believe.
Yeah. So, and he had, I don't remember.
I mean, he set the record in 1984, I think.
Right. I don't remember when he retired. So he had years, and he didn't have just 1 year with 21 and 22 sacks. I mean, Mark Gastineau was a sack machine, in his heyday.
Brett Favre did go on and say that. He did say in his tweet that Gastineau, he eclipsed 20 sacks twice and then had 19 in another year.
Yeah, I mean, Gastineau could get at the quarterback for sure. I remember the Jets were something special then. But again, 40 years later, was that the first time that he's had the chance to face-to-face address Favre?
And that's the thing, Proffet. That's the thing that is not rubbing me the right way about this. You can feel and I get it. You say you lost all respect for Brett Favre. I don't lose all respect for him. I lose a little respect for him, but you see it happen a lot in sports. If guys in baseball, guys trying to hit for the cycle, you'll see, and he needs a home run. You'll see a pitcher groove a fastball down there sometimes, or stuff like that. I think you see it happen more often than you probably notice. But it's been 40-something years, and you see the interaction. And Gastineau goes up to Favre, and Favre says, "Hey, haven't I met you before?" And he wants no part of it. So my thing is, there's got to be some kind of publicity in this. And maybe this is exactly what Mark Gastineau wanted out of it. And now he's back in the limelight. People are talking about him. I guarantee that he's going to be doing interviews out of this if he hasn't already.
If I'm not mistaken, he needed this book.
Well, maybe this is hell of a promotional tour, So nothing you know as good as anybody, there's no such thing as a coincidence. Okay, this stuff happens for a friggin' reason. So it's all timed out. This video apparently was aired or was taken a year ago, and didn't see the light of day until recently, the last couple of days.
Right.
Nothing
Why?
happens by accident, right? So I get why Gastineau's pissed off. Hey, you gave the record to Strahan. How about Watt beating your record cleanly? You don't talk about that. Like, why are you still holding a friggin' grudge on Brett Favre? Come on. So it's not adding up to me.
But let's, okay, for the sake of discussion here again, because I don't know when Gastineau retired, but let's say it was 1989. He needs 5 years before he can go in the Hall. That's 94. He has almost 30 years as the sack leader. At some point, they got to get the sack leader in the Hall.
He retired. Damn, it doesn't. I don't. 96 retirement. He retired. Gastineau led the AFC in sacks 7 weeks into the 1988 season, and then abruptly announced his retirement.
Okay, so the earliest he was available for was the 93-94 class. So he would have had, like I said, almost 30 years of being the sack leader, where at some point you probably have to get him in the Hall. Instead, he only had 8 years.
In 2022, the Professional Football Researchers Association named Gastineau to the PFRA Hall of Very Good class of 2022. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why this dude's not in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this, and we did. We talked enough about it.
Yeah,
it was just a weird exchange, dude. And you get some, like you said, Gastineau needs this more than Favre or anybody else does, and he's getting what he wants out of it. And I'm not. You know what? I'm pissed.
And good for him. Good for him, because guess what? In 1984, 85, he wasn't making the money that these guys are making today. So. Yep. Good for him. If it sells him 1 million extra books, man, I'm happy for him. Yeah, I mean, I've since moved on with not respecting Favre and all, but I think it was a pretty crappy deal.
Army-Navy games this weekend.
Yeah, man.
3:00. I got a Christmas party going on at my house, so I'm gonna have it on in the background, and I'm gonna be getting ready for that party. But big one this year, Army and Navy. Well, at one point they were both ranked, but Army coming in 11-1, and Navy's 8-3. I think. Yep. Navy's 8-3.
Yeah, 8 or 9-3. Yeah.
Excuse me. 125th meeting here. They're in Washington, D.C., which you don't. They bounce around between Baltimore, Philly, and D.C. now.
Yeah, they played up in the Meadowlands once, I think.
Oh, yeah, they did, yeah. So Navy leads the all-time series by a record of 62, 54, and 7. I think it's actually one of my plays is, and we'll talk about it later, but Army's actually 6.5-point favorites in this game. Supposed to be decent weather, I think. We got rain tonight, but I don't think it's going to be rain this weekend. Nice weekend. Always a great battle between these two teams, and you love to see it because of the pageantry. Usually the president of the United States is there. We'll see if the president or the incoming president-elect is going to be there. We'll see.
Well, the president will be there, but he won't remember it, so we'll be fine.
That was him, not me. Anyway.
I speak the truth.
We're moving on. Sticking to college football, we got
whoa. Don't I get to talk anything about the game here?
Oh, what are you making a pick? I didn't know you were making picks.
No, actually, well, yes, I do have a pick here, but I got some info also. And
go ahead.
This game's more than a football game. I mean, we touched on it a little bit last year in the show and all, it is. You hit the nail on the head. It's a pageantry. I remember I can't remember the year. It was mid '80s though. They played at Veterans Stadium, and I was over on South Street in Philly after the game. And what a wild scene, man! All these midshipmen and cadets just walking the streets, going to the bars. I mean, it was really crazy. These guys, yeah, for one day, for a 3 hour time, they hate each other, and they get in there and they butt heads. But yeah, just a little background on the game. Army has won the last two. The last two game, the over under in the last 10 is 1-8-1, with the push being last year when the line was 28, and the year before the line was 32 and a half, and it went over. They scored 20 to 37 points. So this is traditionally a low scoring game. 8 of the last 10 games have been decided by less than a touchdown. So I kind of like Army in this game after watching them play last week against Tulane in the conference championship.
Yeah.
And that Daly kid, man, he is something else, their quarterback.
Yeah, they're throwing a lot more than they really ever have, too.
Yeah. Well, not last week. They didn't throw one time last week, which is crazy. But yeah, I see Army winning this game and keeping themselves going. I got them winning though, 2017. Yeah.
No, I'll hold my prediction because, like I said, I'm going to talk about it later. So, always fun to watch, though.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter who wins this game unless you got money on it. The country wins on Saturday afternoon watching this game. God bless America.
We're moving on here. The college football playoff picture is set. I don't know. It is. You can go back and forth. You can spend an hour talking about this stuff. We're going to touch on it pretty quickly. Who's the national champ? And I look at this board here, and you got Oregon, Arizona State, Boise State, and Georgia with the first round buys. All right. 8 versus 9 matchup gives you Ohio State versus Tennessee, Texas versus Clemson, Penn State versus SMU, and then you got Notre Dame versus Indiana. So if nothing else, you're getting some really cool matchups here out of these playoffs that you don't traditionally see. All right, when's the last time, and I don't know if I can't put a finger on it, but when's the last time Tennessee went into Ohio State and played at Ohio Stadium? I don't know the answer to that. You don't see it very often. It's pretty cool. You want to talk about, is it the correct 12 teams? You can go on all day about that. At the end of the day, probably, you make a case for Alabama, but, you make a case for Alabama, any year pretty much. But the system is what the system is. I kind of look at this and I see Arizona State. Well, granted, they're 11-2. They won their conference, and Boise State are sitting here with first round buys. Like, these are two of the weaker teams in this playoff, I would say. And they got first round buys, but they did what they needed to do, and they won their conferences. You want to talk to me about a national champion? I'm not ready to give that prediction yet, but I will say that Penn State has got the easiest path to get there. Given their first round game against SMU, which if Penn State doesn't beat SMU, there's a problem. And then they go in and then they'll have Boise State, and it just doesn't add up. The math doesn't math for me, Proffet, with these games here. And then, if they beat SMU and Boise State, they'll get the winner of the Georgia and probably Notre Dame, or either Notre Dame or Indiana. Be interested to see who wins that game. But I got Penn State, having the best path right now. Texas, Clemson, and Arizona State, they're all kind of intermingled. They're all, well, Texas would be my, number one pick in that grouping, but that can go any way, any day of the week, and with those three teams, I think. What do you got here?
Yeah, no, I mean, I look at it, and I definitely think the upper part of the bracket is the stronger part. You say Penn State has the easier path. I agree, a team in that lower bracket has the easiest path, but I think that's Notre Dame. Notre Dame playing an injured Georgia. We don't know what the status of Beck's going to be. Notre Dame's playing good ball. Notre Dame's getting really a pretty easy first game against Indiana, I think. Yeah. Now, granted, they only have one loss on the year, but they don't have very many quality wins either.
Right.
But my pick to win it all, I'm going with ASU. I watched them. I watched them play the other day, and this team, they can score and they can play defense. I think they're going to give Oregon a run for their money, and they're going to surpass Oregon, and I think they're going to win the national championship this year.
You trying to get a hot take there or something like that? Because that is not. I don't think that's the opinion of very many people at all. And if Texas comes out of this game, you think Arizona State's would beat Texas?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, you think Arizona State will beat everybody? You said they're going to win.
I think Arizona State's going to beat everybody. Yeah, I got Arizona State and Notre Dame in the championship game.
Really?
But in answer to your question, Tennessee and Ohio State have never played.
Period, or just in Ohio?
Yeah, well, I mean, the last 25 years, as far as I was able to research back. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's different, It's matchups that you don't usually see. So
what's really cool though is that they're calling for snow out in Ohio State on Saturday or next week. There's a possibility of snow, which obviously they can't figure that far in advance. But with us getting snow here today, they were out there practicing in the snow, trying to get ready for it. It was cool. It's all on the news. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And we're sticking with college for a little bit here. We're, 'tis the season for bowl mania. The bowl games kick off on Saturday. I think there's one at 9:00 Saturday night. If I'm still awake by then, if I'm still awake by then, I'll have it on. Well, I'll have it on. I don't know if I'm going to be awake for it. But salute the Veterans Bowl, South Alabama versus Western Michigan. But really, once you start Tuesday the 17th, those bowls are coming at you quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's a lot of fun being able to turn on the TV at 2:00 on a Wednesday afternoon and watch college football. We say, is there any games to keep an eye on? I think on paper, there's definitely some games to keep eyes on. But as well as anybody, these last couple of years with the opting out and the transfer portal and stuff like that, half of these teams are going to be, with the new red shirt rules, you're allowed to play in 3 games without losing a red shirt. Half of these games are played by redshirt freshmen, true freshmen, sophomores and stuff, these younger guys who they're trying to get eyes on for next year, because a lot of these guys who are preparing for the NFL are taking the game off anyway. So it'll be interesting to see, and I think you're just going to see a whole bunch of opt-outs starting up this week. But I always like watching the games like the Pinstripe Bowl and the Fenway Bowl. I like watching those games played at the baseball stadiums. I think they're pretty cool setups. And the one game that stands out to me, because quite frankly, Coach Prime said that his guys aren't sitting out or opting out, is that Valero Alamo Bowl, BYU versus Colorado, because I don't think any of the BYU players are going to opt out. And if Prime's true to his word, his guys are playing too. And I think BYU versus Colorado on December 28th is going to be a nice little game. What games stand out to you, Proffet?
Yeah, that was one of my 3 also there, Sling'n. And one of the reasons also being is that it'll be the last time for the probable number 1 pick in next year's draft to showcase himself. With Shedeur Sanders. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm actually looking forward to the first game on Tuesday, not Saturday night's game, but Tuesday, the Memphis, West Virginia game. I mean, you got 2 teams there that can score a lot of points. and they can give up a lot of points also. That should be a fun one to watch.
It's just interesting to see what's going to happen with Memphis. With they don't have their coach. They don't have a coaching staff right now. So
Yeah,
that game's also being coached by graduate assistants, and I imagine they're going to have a lot of opt outs as well.
they're going to have some fun, I think. And you talk about that, and yeah, I mean, we talk about it for the last couple of years now, and I mean, I was invited to get involved in the bowl pool again this year today, and I'm just not sure that I'm going to. It's like you invest a whole lot of time figuring this all out, and
Yeah.
a week
And then the
from
starting
now,
quarterback decides a half hour before the game that he doesn't feel like playing in it.
right? And so it's hard.
Excuse me.
I'm not sure whether I'm going to or not. But the other game, let me see. The other game I'm looking forward to is the Birmingham Bowl, which has Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If they all play, that'll be a good one too.
Yeah, if they all play right, then two teams there that had a couple of big wins that they weren't supposed to this year, and a couple of close games that shouldn't have been close. So that should be a good game also.
Mrs. Proffet said, "Are you jumping on the Colorado bandwagon?" I never really. I don't know. I think they're very entertaining to watch. And I think that it's not very common that you have probably the number 1 and number 2 overall draft picks coming out of the same school the same year. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And I'm not jumping on it, but we cannot forget either. Though 2 weeks ago, they Colorado scored big for the Profiteers and myself with a 52-0 blowout.
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that'll wrap up our college. That'll wrap up our college talk until we get to the weekly roundup segment. Last one here for the what's happening. Saquon eyeing the rushing record. Can he get to 2,106? Currently, the record sits at 2,105. He's got 4 games left to do it. Right?
Yeah.
What's he sitting at currently?
He is currently sitting at 1623.
So you're the math wizard here.
484 yards he needs.
484 yards. So how many yards per game is that?
That's 121 a game.
121 a game. And he's been averaging, let's say, last game versus the Panthers,
He's been
124. 124, 107 against the Ravens, 255 against the Rams, 146 against the Commanders, 66 against the Cowboys, and 159 against the Jaguars. His last 4 games are against Pittsburgh, Washington, Dallas, and New York. So he's got 3 NFC East games, which there ain't nobody giving. You talk about somebody giving somebody a record. There ain't nobody giving him a record in those 3 games.
Who's the last game they play against?
The Giants.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, so that could be, and that game is, the time is still to be determined. That game could be flexed. If he's going for a rushing record, they might flex that.
The Giants might put 11 men up in the box so that if he needs like 80 yards that day.
Man, could you imagine Saquon goes into that game needing to set the all-time NFL rushing record?
Yeah.
How about it, though? I mean, what a great season for him, and not for nothing. I mean, up here in New Jersey, like in the Philly suburbs, they're sitting here, 12-2, right? Is that what their record is?
Yeah, they got.
Yeah, they're 12-2, and they're still talking about how Hurts 11-2, and they're still talking about how Hurts isn't the guy. And everybody's pissed off. They said he had a bad game against the Panthers. They just said he's not like. Now you hear that there's beef out there, like legitimate beef out there between him and AJ Brown. Brandon, you heard Brandon Graham commenting on it this week. Things aren't as well as they seem in Philadelphia. That's for certain. Sirianni needs to get his locker room under control. And
nothing a Super Bowl victory won't fix, though. No. And not saying it's going to happen, but
excuse me.
But I mean, Barkley's going. he's going up against Pittsburgh this week. They're averaging 92 a game, giving up on the ground. Washington's 137, Dallas is 142, and the Giants are 142. So that's a combined 503 if he were to get all the rushing yards, which puts him over what he needs. I personally think he's going to do it, but I also believe the Giants are going to do everything in their power to stop him. If he needs 30 yards, he ain't going to stop him. He needs 85, 90 yards that last game. They're going to be loading the box. It's understandable.
Or maybe this is where the Giants players absolutely mutiny and say, screw this organization, and they let them get it. They say, we ain't doing nothing to stop them.
Yeah, I hope that's not
an organization. You talk about an organization in shambles. Talk Malik Neighbors, good. Yeah. Go watch a couple of his interviews, man. He ain't a guy that I would want to be coaching, that's for sure. He's got a very bad attitude. And he's throwing Dable under the bus. Like, oh man, it's just tough. Especially for a rookie, see your true colors coming out.
Must be the water in that East Coast area, man.
Yeah, maybe. It makes good bagels, though.
Oh, yeah.
We're moving on. We got our advanced sports weekly pick'em pool. This might be more highly contested in some of these fantasy football playoff matchups that we got going on this week. That's for sure. Yearly leaderboard. Mighty Pound Cakes tied at the top with Talon. Farm Ball, Johnny H., Peebler, and Radomir are both tied for quote-unquote second place. 146 is the top. You got four guys here in second with 144.
Wow.
Big Will with 143. Lana with 141. Dave with 140. Crazy. It's just wild coming down to the end here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This week 14 results, you had 7 people tied at the top.
And Frankie was one of them, wasn't she?
Yeah, Frankie was one of them. But Johnny H., good old Johnny H., takes home the cake here with only missing the total points by 1 point. All right, so Johnny H. goes 10-3. Talon goes 10-3. Farm Ball 10-3. Mighty Pound Cake 10-3. Dave 10-3. Frankie 10-3. Big Will 10-3. Man, highly contested. This is going to come down to the last week. Please don't miss a week. I would hate for you guys to come so far and this be such a close race, and then you guys miss a week, and then something happens and you miss out. So
yeah, because there's only 64 more games.
Yep.
64 more games.
It'll come down to the very wire. It'll be fun on week 18 because see who's got their positions locked up and stuff already, and who's playing their starters and who's not playing their starters. But that'll wrap it up for our What's Happening segment. We're going to go right into the weekly roundup here. We're going to kind of fly through this. I want to try and get through this quicker than usual because I think that, I don't know, I think the weekly roundup needs to be a little bit quicker, personally speaking. I do love the music
minutes now instead of the fastest 16.
Yeah, maybe the fastest 8 minutes. We're where's my song? It's been a while, so. We're starting off in college. Boise State topples UNLV, punching their ticket to the playoffs, winning the Mountain West Conference, this time on the blue field. They beat the UNLV Rebels by a score of 21-7. I was watching that game. I was actually, excuse me, let me turn this music down a little bit. I was actually at the Sixers game. I went to a Sixers game Friday night because Mark and my buddies got a box. It was really nice, food and drink and all that stuff. I can't remember the last time I was at a Sixers game, but it was nice to go over there and be in the box because I didn't have to watch the game. I got to watch the football games. And, I was watching some of that game in the box, and Boise just didn't look good at the start, and then I drove home and saw that they were kind of dominating, and Genty got into his own, and he was, got into his own rhythm and all, and he finished the game with over 200 yards. I'm really curious, and I'm usually not, I really don't care about the Heisman, watching the Heisman Trophy presentation, but I'm really curious this weekend to see what happens on Saturday night. I know, Vegas, if you look at Vegas, it's Hunter by a long shot, but does he deserve it, man? I don't know. I don't know. I like Genty here as I think he's deserving of the Heisman Trophy, so it'll be interesting to see. What'd you take from this game?
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, they started out slow. They turned it on, when they had to. I like Boise. I don't think Boise has a chance of advancing if they don't play better than they did Friday night or Thursday night, whenever it was. They definitely have to step up their game. And also, why I added this time on the blue field, I mean, I don't know. I've seen a couple of games on that blue field at nighttime, and I cannot stand watching them at night. During the day, when it's sunny out and all, it's a beautiful scene. But at nighttime, man, I don't know. There's something that just crazy. It makes my eyes go crazy.
Yeah, I never particularly cared for watching a game on that field, but apparently they outlawed all these colored fields now. NCAA, as of like last year or 2 years ago, you're not allowed to have crazy colored field anymore, because you see them all over the place. You got red field. Eastern Washington's got a red field.
Yeah.
There's a D3 school in New York, I think, that's got a black field, which is ironic. Eastern Michigan's got the gray turf, which is weird to watch a game on. So you see them all over the place. But we're moving on here. Oregon shows why they're top ranked. PSU, their latest victim. I don't know if it's more Oregon is that good or Penn State just can't win the big friggin' game. Oregon comes out with a 45-37 victory on this one. I expected this. I didn't expect, Penn State to go in there and beat Oregon, but nonetheless, Oregon secured themselves a spot. They secured themselves a bye, and Penn State's got to play an okay SMU team this week. What'd you take away from this one?
Nah, I feel differently than you do. I mean,
what up, Uncle Bob? Bob, brother Proffet checking in.
What's up, brother Proffet? I like Penn State. Their offense is questionable this year for sure. But one thing that has been a steadfast with them is that defense. And for Oregon to throw 45 up on them, that's pretty impressive. I don't think Penn State's got that easier first round game, but I think that's where it ends there. Oregon, unfortunately, they're going to get bumped off by ASU in the second round, but third round. But I don't know. You got some credibility with my group chat right now, and after I tell them you're picking Arizona State to win the Natty, I have a feeling that credibility is going to go downhill quickly. But we'll see how that plays out, I think. Yeah, well, did you see the Iowa State game, man? They played a pretty decent Iowa State team, and they spanked them.
I didn't see the Iowa State game, but I saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. I saw that Tampa took control of the NFC South, and now suddenly Baker Mayfield's got some weapons back, and he's getting into back to the form a little bit that he was doing earlier in the year. He goes 18-29 for 295, 3 touchdowns. I know you're playing against the lowly Raiders, who are sitting here at 2-11. I don't know how much longer Pierce has gotten that job. He might be a one and doneer, honestly. He hasn't done anything with that team that's exciting by any stretch of the imagination. Buccaneers win 28-13. Tampa Bay takes control of the NFC South. What'd you make of it? Do you think they can hang on or what?
You say Pierce hasn't done anything with that team? Come on, man. They brought in Gardner Minshew, the quarterback him.
Yeah, I know. And he didn't even – well, he got hurt, I guess. But
yeah, he got hurt 3 weeks ago when they were 2-8.
O'Connell stunk. Desmond Ritter stunk. That's a problem too. You go out and sign Desmond Ritter. Holy crap!
Look, Tampa Bay, they grabbed hold of the NFC South again, like the headline says, and this week is going to be a big week to determine whether or not they win the South. But we'll touch on that in a later segment. Good for Tampa Bay.
Dallas gives another one away at home and loses at home. Lost to the Bengals. Loses to Bengals. Did you type this or did I?
No, you did.
Dallas gives another one away at home. Loses to Bengals.
Right.
Well,
there's supposed to be a period there, I would say.
Yeah. Grammar, it's important. 27-20, Bengals able to squeak one out against the Dallas Cowboys. Holy crap. Joe Burrow still has a night. Like, he's just putting up numbers, man. 33 or 44 for 369 and 3 touchdowns. Cooper Rush, 16 of 31 for $183 and 2 touchdowns. Dowdle, which is your boy. I think didn't you tell?
Yeah.
Wasn't he a pickup for you?
Yeah, he was.
131 yards, no touchdowns though. Didn't find pay dirt. Still had a nice day on the ground. I don't know. I don't think this does anything really to help the Bengals' case here, but it helps out the Cowboys keeping that draft position for sure. Would you make of this one?
You know what, and I know I'm going to botch his name up, okay, but all I have to say is thank you, Amani Oruwariye. Okay, and that is the special teams player from the Cowboys. Myself, all the Profiteers, and many other people around the country were thanking him Monday night for the boneheaded play that he made. Did you see obviously not. It was the end of the game and you were sawing wood. But Cincinnati has to punt. The punter standing on like his own 15-yard line. Dallas blocks the punt partially. The ball rolls up around the 45-yard line. The guy from Dallas that I just botched his name, tries to field it instead of leaving the ball alone. He doesn't field it. It hits him in the chest. Cincinnati recovers the ball 2 plays later. Burrow to Chase for a 45-yard touchdown. Cover. It was a beautiful night. Thank you, Amane.
Well, thank you, Mr. Sir, for botching that play. I guess I was trying to wonder why this game was in there. And now I know because he had a backstory to it. But
well, yeah, I mean the backstory. Dallas has to, I don't know. What do they teach in special teams? Don't they teach you how to play special teams? Like,
I don't know. They're in the NFL. I would think they teach you a lot of things.
Yeah.
And we're last game here. Rams and Bills entertain all in an instant class. You got to learn how to use punctuation here too.
Nah, it's all one line, baby.
No,
it's all one line. That's an exciting line too.
No, Rams and Bills entertain all, comma, in an instant classic. 44-42. The Rams come out on top of this one, and a little bit of an upset, right? I don't know. I forget who you picked last week, but upset in a lot of people's minds. Stafford comes out, goes 23 of 30 for 320, 2 touchdowns. Nice day out of him. Kyron Williams has a nice day. 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen got my wife 70 fantasy points, last week. And she still didn't make the playoffs. Anyway, neither did I. 6 out of 8 teams make the playoffs. Me and my wife are the 2 teams sitting home. We're battling out this week for the toilet bowl champ. Josh Allen, 22 of 37 for 342, 3 touchdowns through the air. 10 of 82, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Unbelievable game out of him. Again, 70 fantasy points for my wife. So that was pretty crazy. What'd you make out of this one?
Well, I mean, okay, staying along the fantasy lines here, okay. I'm playing Josh Allen, but that's a 4:00 game, and I have I have Sam Darnold at 1:00. Sam Darnold throws up a 50 spot for me. I'm leading by 70 points, 80 points, whatever the hell it was, going into the 4:00 games. And then Allen turns around and throws up a 55 spot, and going into Monday night, I'm down by 5. Yeah.
Wow.
It was great. It was a crazy fantasy game for us, but now this game was great. I mean, I actually got off when the start of this game. I got off of the red zone and flipped over to watch this game. Just didn't want to deal with the other ones. But I'm not going to get too crazy with Buffalo giving up 44. I kind of think they looked ahead to this week's game with Detroit. They might have been looking past the Rams, and the Rams showed them that you can't look past them. That the Rams can put points up on the board. I will say this, in watching this game, though, I honestly think Puka Nacua is, if not the best receiver in the league, he is definitely one of the top 2 receivers in the league. This guy is absolutely phenomenal. And if you got him on your fantasy team, you make sure he's in your lineup this week.
He's just, he scares me with seems like he's injured all the time.
Well, he does get hurt a lot, but man, I mean, the guy makes incredible catches. He runs the ball. He catches the ball. Yeah, the only thing, Sling'n, that I didn't like in this game, and Brady was making a big to do about it too. They had first and goal with a minute 5 left at the 1 yard line, and they ran the ball. They had all 3 of their timeouts left, and Buffalo did. They ran the ball to try and score. And on first down, they didn't get in, so they had to use a timeout. And that ended up costing them the game because they couldn't get the ball back. They obviously scored.
Right.
But, they handed the ball off. Like, you got Josh Allen, who's already got you three freaking touchdowns on the ground. Roll them out. Let them throw the ball. If it's incomplete, it stops the clock. You didn't have to use your timeout. So I think that was a little bit of a bad call by what is it, McDermott? Not McDermott. Whatever the hell his name is up there. But yeah, it was a great game to watch.
Well, that'll wrap it up for our weekly roundup segment. That wraps it up. I was making sure we didn't have one more slide in there. Not too bad. We kept it short there, but we're moving on. We're going right into our games of the week this week. Heading into week 15, there's a lot of divisional contests still up for grabs. A lot of divisions still up for grabs, I should say. A lot of impactful divisional races that that are still being decided. And a lot of leagues starting fantasy playoffs. If you didn't start them already, they're starting this week. A lot of stuff going on here towards the end of the season, Proffet. Always busy around the holiday times with football and fantasy and like I said, championships being decided. Our first game is going to take us to San Francisco.
Night.
San Francisco, we got the LA Rams. I didn't look at the slate. Is it a weak slate this week or what?
No, actually, it's not. It's not terrible. It's not as bad as it was last week.
I'm just wondering because I see these 49ers on here, and I'm like, are they relevant? This game's tomorrow night too. How about that?
Well, it's a Thursday night game, and
not bad. Rams over under 49.5. San Fran -3, which is surprising. Why is San Fran -3 in this game? No McCaffrey. That's weird to me.
No Mason, no Huga, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
They're down to their practice squad running back.
Right. So something's not adding up here. Anyway, the Rams come in riding a 2-game winning streak. You just talked, Proffet just talked for 20 minutes about their, the Bills game. But no, I got the Rams in this one. I don't know why the line is the way it is, but Vegas always knows something. But tomorrow night, I got the Rams going over the 49ers, and they cover.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Obviously they cover. Yeah.
Okay. You got the Rams. Well, guess what? the series is not at 2-2 the last four, with 4-0 is the over in this game. All that being said, I like San Fran making a late run for the playoffs here in a low scoring game, 27-10.
Wow. What do you like about San Fran?
I think, well, number one, I think the Rams have to travel, okay, albeit just down the coast, okay, or up the coast. But coming off that big win on Sunday, I mean, I have a feeling they're gonna let down, and San Fran, with the exception of a backfield, is healthy now. I mean, I think San Fran's going to take this one. That's all.
All right.
They're going to make their run
I
for the
was just
playoffs
wondering.
here. Oh,
Our next game is a cross conference big time matchup. Got to see in the Buffalo Bills making the trip to Detroit, visiting those Detroit Lions. Bills coming in at 2.5, Detroit coming in at 2.5-point favorites. Over under set at 54.5. Lions coming into this game at 12-1. Buffalo comes into this game 10-3, coming off a very close loss to the Rams. A very emotional game. Okay, high scoring game. But listen, I've said it once and I'll say it again. You don't go into Detroit and beat Dan Campbell and his Lions, because he's got those guys ready to play, ready to eat them up. I got the Lions in this one. Lions, I'll say they cover too. And guess what? Every time the Lions win, it makes my wife happy, because she's a big Dan Campbell fan, and I like to think that I look a little bit like him. So, it's always a good day.
What, from the front or the back?
Neither, I guess. Yeah. Maybe the voice. You turn out the lights and you just hear the talking and the deep tone in the voice, and that's me. And that's my comparison to Dan Campbell. That's probably where that ends.
I'm not touching that one. Green Bay. I mean, Detroit's lucky again. Dan Campbell. And I guess in reality, not enough, with his gambling and all, not enough gets played about the good when it does work out for him. But he almost gave that game away last week there, Slade.
A lot of games away.
Yeah. I mean, going for it on fourth down at the end of the game, tied 31-all when you're, at the 35-yard line. You could have given Green Bay the ball at their 35, needing the field goal. I mean, he ends up getting it and then runs the clock down and kicks the field goal. They needed a yard. They got the yard. He ran the clock down and kicked the field goal. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I remember that. I actually saw that one. Yeah, I was like, why not just kick? It's 4th and 1. Why not just kick the field goal to go up? Instead, you go for it and you get it. And then he kicked the field goal to win the game. I mean, it worked out in his favor, but he's made a lot of calls like that don't work out for him. So
exactly, and they're the ones you hear about. You don't hear about.
It's not. It's who he is, though, and it's not a one-off. He does it all the time.
I agree.
And I compare you compared him to a gambler, and I went over to the casino near the stadiums on Friday night, right before the Sixers game, and I'm sitting playing Mississippi Stud, and I'm sitting at the table, and the guy's talking to me about, playing the bonus up top. They got that bonus play. He says, well, what if it hits? I said, if it hits, I don't get mad, because I never play it. I won't be pissed off. And it's not like I do it sometimes and I just took a round off. I never play it. And I know that and I tell myself that I never play it, just like Dan Campbell. This is how he calls his games. He is very aggressive, and sometimes he wins and sometimes it costs him. But right now it hasn't cost him this year. It cost him last year in the friggin' playoffs. That's for damn sure. But yeah, should be a good one nonetheless. We're moving on though.
Well, oh really? I don't get to make a pick here?
Oh my God! I thought you did. You were being talking for 7 minutes.
Oh man, put your watch away, will you? It's the holidays.
I got laundry to do.
Now, I think Buffalo, like I said earlier, was looking past the Rams last week. Detroit has been vulnerable the past couple of weeks, and I think Buffalo is going to exploit that. They're going to go in to Detroit, and they're going to beat them 34-31.
Buffalo beats Detroit 34-31.
Yep.
Yeah, I take that bet. Yeah, thanks, Larry. Thanks for reminding me. We're on a time crunch here. We've only got 32 minutes left in our storage capacity for this show, and then it manually implodes. So our next game takes us to Los Angeles, California. Tampa Bay, the new leaders of the NFC South, the new old leaders of the NFC South, go in and visit the LA Chargers. My boy Baker Mayfield got this Buccaneer ship back on track, so to speak. Again, Mike Evans came back. They got Rashad White back. They got pretty much that receiving core that was injured. It's all back for him. I know Rashad White's not a receiver, but I'm just saying they're getting their players back. Tampa Bay comes in 7-6. Chargers come in 8-5. Over under set at 45.5 for this one. Chargers 3-point favorites in this game. I don't know. I think I'm going with Baker. I'm going with the Buccaneers just because I don't like Jim Harbaugh, and I want Baker to shut him up. A little khaki wearing ass. I want Baker to go into LA, and I got no other reasons other than that I think that the Buccaneers are gonna go in and win this game. I just don't. Admittedly, I don't know enough about the friggin' Chargers, man. I don't get to see a lot of their stuff, so just from what I see in highlights and all. But I got the Buccaneers in this one.
Tampa Bay needs this one. Okay, Tampa Bay wins this. In all likelihood, they're going to win out, which means they're going to win the NFC South. I mean, their last 3 games are, pretty much cupcakes. You don't know a lot about the Chargers, okay? The Chargers have no running game. Dobbins is out for the year. The Chargers have nobody that can catch the ball. If McConkey does play this week, then they will have one person that can catch the ball. They have a good defense. Herbert got hurt the other night. He is okay, but they just don't have enough on offense here. I got Tampa Bay 20-13.
Damn, so we're on the same page there. Tampa Bay's going into LA, beating them. Yeah. Next game, Green Bay going into Seattle. I think you picked last week. You had Green Bay beating Detroit, didn't you?
Yeah, I had them upset in Detroit and
came pretty close to it.
Yeah,
came close to it. Didn't wind up happening. Green Bay's been having a nice. They before last week and even last week they played a nice game, but Seahawks have won their last 4, and then their last loss was to the Rams in overtime. Seahawks come into this one with an 8-5 record. Packers come into this one 9-4. Over under set at 45.5. Packers are 2.5 point favorites in this one. I'm taking the Packers here, and I think the Packers cover. I think the Packers are going to go in there and kind of throw the ball all over the place in Seattle. Again, Seattle's another one of those teams that I don't know a whole lot about. I just know that they're not very consistent. And Green Bay's got the opportunity, I think, to play some pretty solid offense, at most of the time. So I think I got Green Bay in this one.
Yeah, I think Green Bay has a little too much firepower offensively, and they have their defense is a little better than Seattle. Going into Seattle's never an easy place to win, but I see the Pack winning this one 27-24.
Ugh, I didn't realize we were going to agree on all these games, Proffet.
Hey.
Well, there's a reason why there's a reason why we both got so much damn money in the plays of the week. That's right. Plays of the week. That's why. So our next game is our Jug Handle Inn game of the week. Jug Handle Inn, located on Route 73 in Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Jug Handle Inn, you got to get in for their. I just saw something pop up, man, for their holiday menu. It's great. I forget. They got a new flavor of the month for wings or something like that. I don't know what it's called, but I literally just passed it on Facebook, and now I can't remember. But and of course I go back on the Facebook and can't find it. But Jug Handle Inn.
You tell the ownership. I said if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay.
They do all these places. They come out with the flavor of the month. I think it was some holiday flavor of the month, something with cinnamon and nutmeg, or I don't know. Maybe I could be crazy, but probably am. But I'm making it up anyway. Jug Handle Inn game of the week got us Pittsburgh Steelers taking a trip to Philadelphia. We talked last week about how many home games the Eagles have left. I think they've only got one away game left in the season. Pittsburgh coming in this game 5.5-point underdogs to the Eagles. Over under set at 42.5. Eagles, I don't know. Do you want to say they struggled against the Panthers, or do you want to just say they got by the Panthers?
Yeah, they got by. I mean,
they got by. I think you could see
past them.
Anybody was primed for a letdown on that game. They did what they needed to do to come out with the W, but you could ask anybody if they thought that this game was going to be close, and a lot of people probably would have told you, yeah, because I don't know. Like you said, they were looking past them or whatever. But Steelers come in here with a 10-3 record, and they've been playing good football, coming off a win against the Browns. And I told you, Proffet, that whole crappy snow game a couple weeks ago. And look, they go out and they friggin' beat Cleveland by 2 scores. So those kind of games piss me off. That damn blizzard game a couple weeks ago to Cleveland, it was a fluke.
But Cleveland and Pittsburgh have traded victories the last 5 seasons. So the fact that Pittsburgh won this week is no, big deal. Or that Cleveland won 2-3 weeks ago is no big deal.
I think it was just a sloppy game in the snow. But I got the Eagle. I would love to see. I would love to see Pittsburgh come in here. I'm trying to think when's the last time I seen Pittsburgh go into the link for a regular season game. It's been a few years. You don't get that. You don't get that cross-state rivalry very often. I'm racking my brain. I'm trying to think of a way to make this work. All right, I can't think of a way to make this work. I got the Eagles. Saquon's going to be a man on a mission. He's going to want to get that record. I got the Eagles 27, Steelers 27-20.
Fastest 32 minutes is Jug Handle game of the week. I think we got a tough. This is going to be a great defensive battle here, I think. And I got again, I picked the Eagles to blow Carolina out. I didn't do my due diligence, seeing this game, that game on the schedule in front of this one. Yeah, I could see them having the letdown they had last week. They were gearing up for this game. This is the big game. I got the Eagles 20-13 in this one.
20-13. So we both have 7-point victories for the Eagles. We just have different 7-point victories. I got the Eagles 27-20. You got the Eagles 20-13.
You got a high-scoring game. I got a low-scoring game. Right.
So we'll see. Either way, Jug Handle Inn game of the week. We always appreciate their sponsorship. I want somebody to get the score and get the team right, man. I want to give out a gift card. I'm ready to send somebody to the Jug and on the Sling'n Profits. No, I'm not going to say it's on their dime, but off of the Sling'n Profit show. I want somebody to go to the Jug and say, "Hey, I won the game of the week from the Sling'n Profit podcast," and we're ready to do that. But either way, you know what the deal is. Jug Handle Inn. Got wings.
Got wings.
That'll wrap it up for our game of the week segment. Proffet, we talked about fantasy playoffs starting. I don't have to worry about that in any league that I'm in, I don't think.
Yeah, nor do I.
I don't know. You're not in the playoffs either.
Nah, I got
You just
booted
give
out.
away because you give away all your picks. That's why.
No kidding. No
Yeah.
kidding.
There's no wonder why the last 3 years you haven't even come close to the playoffs in any of your fantasy leagues.
Look over my
Uh,
left shoulder. That's our trophy sitting behind me back there. Okay, and
sorry.
and I am on a 4-game win streak in our league. I just started a little late. That's all.
Okay. Well, talk to the people. You got
Okay.
you got any playoff help this week or what?
Yes and no. I can help everybody, but you've got to reach out to me. Hit me up at pigskinprofit@gmail.com. Hit me up on my text, my phone, however, okay? Going over to fantasy this week, man, it's really light. It's really light for what I can put out, okay? I have a running back to sit, DeAndre Swift, going up against Minnesota. Minnesota's given up 7 rushing touchdowns this year. I don't think they're going to give up a whole lot to Swift. If you got him, you're thinking about it, put him on your bench. And pick up a running back at 21%, Justice Hill. Going up against the Giants, I see Baltimore beating the Giants big time this week, which is going to mean Henry is going to be on the bench. Justice Hill should get a whole lot more playing time other than just third down. You need a running back this week. Justice Hill is your man to go to.
Wait, Henry shaved his dreads off. He's going to look like a new man. He's going to be out there 20 pounds lighter, just moving like the wind. And what's this say? I thought you were going to make the playoffs. Uncle Bob's in here saying you're going down this week.
Well, who am I playing? I'm playing you, so I don't think I'm going down this week.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Don't our playoffs start?
No, next week.
Can you still make the playoffs?
No, I'm out.
All right.
I'm out.
Well,
yeah.
Whatever. I didn't even check my team. I thought the playoffs started. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. So, but yeah, that's it. If you got any fantasy questions, reach out to Proffet, pigskinprofit@gmail.com. He'll answer anything you got. It's playoff time, so to be able to put generic plays out there is tough. But
right.
We're moving on to our plays of the week.
I do have one question real quick here.
Yeah, my bad. I forgot about that.
Comes from Cowboy Up, and he says, Prophet, we start our playoffs this week, and I need to decide between CD and DJ Moore. What do you suggest? And, well, Cowboy, I mean, first, I would actually like to know who your other receivers are that you have to worry about DJ Moore and CD Lamb, because, you obviously have some decent receivers, but your question is asking them too. Okay. I would say CD Lamb, go with CD Lamb this week. Playing against Carolina, they have a great matchup. So I like the Cowboys this week. Take CD Lamb. And
CD Lamb's he's still playing,
Oh yeah. Dallas is still playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I said. I said it a couple of weeks ago. They're not good, but they're a team with pride. They're not going to tank the season, and they haven't. So
yeah. Well, we're moving on to our plays of the week, and we're the same as last week. 1 for 2 for me, 2 for 3 for you. Still making money. My Boise State play and UNLV went, it hit. My touchdown score and parlay didn't hit. You're over LA and Kansas City didn't hit, but your Minnesota, Atlanta hit.
Sword.
And Seattle, Arizona hit.
Easy.
So I brought back 265. You brought back 331, bringing our total for the year. My total to 2169 on 1500. And your total's at 2840 on 1500. So you're well over a G. Doing pretty well, I think. My plays for this week, I got Navy in the Army-Navy game here. I just think it's a tough rivalry. It's always close. Both teams are pretty dang good this year. 6.5 points is a lot, in my opinion. I got Navy. I don't know if they win the game, but I got them covering 140 to bring back 270. Excuse me. Touchdown parlay for the week. Kyron Williams. Derrick Henry's going to get in with his newly acquired haircut, and Jamar Chase is going to get in a offensive shootout. Kyron Williams, Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase. Lay 140 to bring back 500 on the nose. My starting balance is 2169. I'm spending 280 this week. It brings me down to 1889. Proffet, talk about your picks for the week.
Yeah, I got 3. Looking the card over, I'm not overly crazy about a whole lot this week right now, anyhow. But my first play, I'm taking the Cowboys that I just talked highly about. I'm taking them on the money line. I'm laying 100 to bring back 224. Dallas is going into Carolina. Carolina, yeah, okay, they've been playing well. They lost their last 3, but they've been competitive. The 2 games before them 3, they won against a couple of dog teams. Dallas is still playing. Carolina, the last 3 years, 0-4 against the spread as a favorite. They're going to be 0-5 after this week. Take the boys on the money line. Then I got I did say what I was wagering there. I got the over the Jets 22.5 team total. Jets are playing one of the worst teams in the league, and in Jacksonville, they have to be feeling like this is one that they could pad their stats, and they're going to. They're going to go into Jacksonville, probably put up 31 points or more. I'm laying 112 to bring back 212 on the Jets over 22.5. And my last pick, I got Arizona over as a team total over 26.5. They're Arizona's going up against New England this week. I just have a feeling that they're going to let out a whole lot of frustration from the past couple of weeks against this team, and they could put 40 plus up. So I'm laying 100 to bring back 217 on that one. That brings me down 312 total. Brings me down for my current balance at 25-28.
25-28, not too shabby of a year for either one of us, really.
No,
I think I'm more impressed with myself than you, to be honest, because I would expect it out of myself. I don't necessarily expect it out of.
No, you're doing well, man. You just got to keep it up. I like Navy this week. Like I said, I think they're going to cover, but
You do.
just the Kyron Williams, I'm just a little nervous about.
Well, he got in twice last year or last week, so
yeah,
we will see as time will tell. But as always, we appreciate everybody joining us this week. Brings an end to another episode of the Sling'n Proffet. What's next week? What's the date?
We're good next week.
Oh, nah, we're good next week, and then 2 Wednesdays from now will be Christmas night. Be a great episode on Christmas night. Join it. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going. I don't know what we're going to do that week, but
yeah, we'll let you.
We'll figure it out and we'll get it out there. But gear up. College football bowl season starting off this weekend. Football divisional races taking shape. Fantasy football playoffs. Good luck to everybody out there partaking in them. If you guys are playing in them, as always, man, thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here next Wednesday night. Sling'n Proffet podcast. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, guys. We love you.